man and being there. Okay, we have one more candidate to hear from, Morgan Bowen. Are you here? Morgan, will you come up and take some?
Steve and I have something in common. We both have taken the challenge to run against the worst congressman in America. You know, sometimes to win the fight, you have to go a few rounds. And I went the rounds with Congressman Bishop 2 years ago. Bloodied him up a little bit, but we didn't win. This time we're going for a knockout.
Yeah!
What we need to do, and I'm going to kind of maybe outline a little bit of some ideas or thoughts I had on all this. I've been watching, as you have been, over the last few months, some of the Tea Party activity going on. And I've thought about that, and I've pondered their message and what they've said. And there's some things that they have to say that's very admirable. And I have no problem agreeing with them on many of those things. So today I'm going to focus this a little bit to help us kind of get into the historical perspective of the Tea Party movement and understand where they're coming from and help them understand what we've got to do to make a real change in this country. Now, number one, if you go back to the original Tea Party movement, as I recall my history, it was back at the Boston Tea Party, it was over taxation without representation. That was the core issue. And in District 1 of Utah, we are being taxed by the federal government, and we don't have any representation. Give you a couple of examples and things you need to be aware of, and the Tea Party movement is quite aware of it. I was watching. I'm going to get out behind this podium. Okay, I'm sorry to lunge off. Let me just kind of explain a little bit here where I'm coming from here. With the Tea Party movement, they're concerned about a lot of things, and some of those concerns are mine. One are the earmarks. The process of earmarking, which is basically taking taxpayer money, slipping into larger bills, and funding various pet projects, is, to me, a little unsettling, and especially the way Congressman Bishop does it. Let me explain how he does an earmark. Okay, his biggest funder, the people that put the most into his campaign, is a software development company based out of California. They've got offices here. Now, I have no problem with them wanting to do business or the work that they do. In fact, I think it's a good work that they do. How they get their contract, though, to me, is not appropriate at all. They produce software for the military, for the Defense Department, and there are other software companies out there, multiple software companies that can do the same job. Instead of having a competitive bid for the job, which is how we should do things if you're going to bid for a government contract, what Congressman Bishop does is take campaign donations from their executives, and to the tune last cycle, $80,000 was the total. They're the #1 contributors to his campaign. In return for the $80,000 campaign contributions that they have donated to his campaign, he turned around and gave them $9.5 million in taxpayer money for their business. Yeah, that's a pretty good investment for your dollar. So I broke it down. For every dollar invested in their congressman, their representative, they get $118 back in taxpayer money. I broke that down a little further, so for every $1,000 that they invest, they get $118,000 back. Now, here's my suggestion as Democrats, maybe you might be interested in this. Today, come up with $1,000, then send the check to Congressman Bishop for a donation, and then he'll write you an earmark for $118,000. In doing that, I don't know if you'll do it or not, but obviously it seems to be his mode. He has what's called pay to play. You want to play, you got to pay. And so that's how he operates. And one of the things I think is wrong, and I think the Tea Party's right on this one, is there's too much of this basically pay-to-play corporate influence that's guiding our government. You know, we had the health care bill. It was a messy proposition. We watched this for a year. And what happened behind closed door, once again, those with resources, those with money, got to write into the bill things they wanted. So the bill needs cleaning up. It needs to be reformed. It needs to be fixed. And that's something that we have to have a Congress with the will to do it. Congressman Bishop, on my last campaign, talked about all these ideas he had for health care, but let's face it, he's been in office, he's going his 5th term now, and when he had majority House, majority Senate, and a president in the White House, what did he do? Nothing. All right? He's complaining now about the president and how the president's cut the funding for ATK. Well, guess what? That was on the chopping block. When? Under George Bush's administration. And what did the Republicans put in their alternate budget this year for NASA funding that would have saved thousands of jobs in northern Utah? What did they put in there? Nothing. Nothing. They didn't put anything in there. And so he cannot go up there and say, I was fighting for our area, I was representing our district, because what does Rob Bishop do for us? Nothing. Nothing. Okay, so here's the deal. This is what we need to do. We've got some great top-tier candidates. We've got 2 great Senate candidates. We've got an amazing candidate for governor with an amazing track record who's actually going to barnstorm and take this state. And I'm so excited to be working with him, for him, do whatever I can to help him out. Peter Kroon's amazing. We've got some amazing local candidates. We've got a lot of things going on here that are very exciting. And sometimes I think we get a little disheartened. I live in a very Republican neighborhood, and my neighbors are very, right-leaning. But you want to know something? I sense something happening in people, a willingness to look, a willingness to go from the extremes and say, look, we need true representation. We need to change some things. And so as we get started with this election season, we are all going to need your help. We're going to need the strength of one person uniting with a neighbor and a friend and going on Facebook and going on the internet. Some of you may be newbies to that. I'm fairly new to that. But I'll tell you what, it's exciting. I was on Twitter the other day. I was watching Rob Bishop talking to Sean Hannity down in Salt Lake. If anyone saw that. And I was watching him talk there. The Tea Party was getting all upset. So right there, I just tweeted while he was talking. I said, hey, Tea Party, don't you know that Rob Bishop is the earmark king of Utah? I said that out. So we get message in a lot of different ways. So hopefully we'll work together to do that. One last thing before I wrap up. I do need you to join with us. We're on votebowen.com. So get on there, get comfortable with that website. I don't have Energy Solutions funding my campaign. I don't have these other groups funding my campaign that want to pay to play. What I have is people like you. That's who I have. And small donations will add up to a big message. We're going to work Weber County so hard. I've been talking to people, local candidates. We're excited to come here and just bust this place out. It was once a Democratic stronghold. 2010, it will be again. My final thought, going back to the Tea Party. The original Tea Party, if you remember, they went onto a ship, and it was because of the taxes on tea. They took the tea and they threw it overboard. Taxation without representation. Remember, it's time for a representative in the 1st District. And it's time to get America working again. The only way we're going to get that is if we can take the person that doesn't represent us, but represents special interest, and throw him overboard. It's time.